Hey there, YouTube. One of the videos I've put out over the last couple of years that got the most traction, kind of in a negative way, on here was called People Don't Understand Red Dots. And this has been a consistent theme with a lot of things I see in training. People don't understand like how these things are supposed to work, how they're really used. That's fine. That's fine. And I made, admittedly, I made some kind of snarky remarks in a past video a couple days ago talking about the size of dots and some of this stuff, like talking about some of this stuff, it seems like contradictory or crazy or it doesn't make sense. And I'm just telling you, it's like, again, it's like most people that own these things, they really don't know how they're supposed to work. I'm not attacking you. I might attack you later. I'm not attacking you now. If you're one of those people, that's fine. I want to go over a couple comments. This is an attempt to help you guys. But a lot of people, they don't like how blunt this is, but whatever. I'm gonna give it to you straight anyway. And a lot of this discussion came from the size of the dot, So this is a 5 MOA dot here, where it's like, guys are like, oh, well, I'll pick it up sooner if it's bigger. And I'm just trying to tell you, like, that's not really how it works. But I'll read a comment and we'll talk about it. It'll be great. All right. It seems that you're saying to the second commenter you quoted is that that if you are automatically aimed perfectly, you will see the dot regardless of the size of the dot. Okay. So he's reacting to where I say, yeah, if I put this dot, if I like mount the gun here, I see the 5 MOA dot immediately. I'm aware of it. It's like this hoe here. This is a 2 MOA dot. I think I mount the gun. I'm aware of a 2 MOA dot. Like, I'm not aware of one or the other sooner. I'm just, the 5 MOA one is bigger and more apparent. All right. Bully for you, an expert shooter who is always on target. In order for anyone to overlay the dot on an in-focus target, you need to see the dot. He put this in all caps. And if a larger dot is easier to find, I don't see why someone is labeled inexperienced or a bad shooter because they want to see what they need to see. No, you don't understand that. That's what I'm saying. You really don't understand, and I believe you. All right, I understand why being snarky and clever pleases some viewers. However, your entire comment assumes someone will always, and possibly under extreme stress, present a gun perfectly. So the dot is exactly where it should be. This assumption makes your entire argument flawed. Okay, well, let me explain to you what's going on. So, and there's different terminology I use here. It's like, again, it's like, I'm not trying to be a complete dick. It's just, you don't have a foundational understanding of how it works. So let's get into it. So the reason, like the way that this thing works is I look where I want to go. The gun's going to go where I look, as long as I don't tense up, torque the gun around. With training, look where I want to go. Gun goes to where I look. The dot goes to where I look. Now, this concept is called index with most competitive shooters. And what that means is think of it like this. If I mount the gun, aim it at a target, okay, you can see my eyes are open, I'm focused on the target, and the red dot is just kind of floating around on the spot where I'm focused. Now, as long as my grip is the same every time, postures is like nothing changes, when I mount the gun, the dot's going to go to where I look, okay? And it's not like this process where I mount the gun and I'm hunting it. Oh, I found the dot. There that shit is. Okay. Like, that's not really happening. Now, you can verify this for yourself if you watch any sort of shooting that has performance as part of it. You're going to see guys where they're looking, ba-ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Like, look at one of the drill supercut videos on this channel. I think the channel trailer right now is the Staccato P drill supercut video. Okay, so what you're going to see is like basically at minimal distance, as soon as the gun's up at my eye target line, I'm smashing the targets. If the target's a little further away, you'll see the gun take just a beat, just a tenth of a second or so maybe, then boom, then it comes back down, boom, boom. And it's like, that's me recognizing the dots return to where I want and then going ahead and pulling the trigger. Now, again, the concept here that's key is index. Now, what this guy says, the way he articulates this is, I don't see why someone is labeled as inexperienced or a bad shooter. I mean, when he's talking about finding the dot. Well, okay, well, let me tell you why you're inexperienced or a bad shooter. Because like the foundational concepts for effectively using a red dot is developing this index, this tool called index, where it's like, again, it's this relationship, consistency, grip, like goes on the gun the same way every time. If that's the same every time, if I look at a spot, the gun's going to go right there. An easy tool to help you develop this is, again, start mounted on the target, put the gun away, moving just your arms, put it back in the holster, and then draw back up to that spot. As you get more experienced, you should also, do that one-handed. Do that with your non-dominant hand. All right? Do that, changing your posture, your attitude, crouch down. And as you train, like over the course of a couple of weeks, maybe 15 minutes a night, you're going to really get an understanding of what this index thing is. And again, like this is where it's like the way guys articulate this, if they're not proficient with red dots, is they're like, oh, but no, bro, but I got to find the dot, and they're torquing the gun. Oh, okay, there's the dot, bro. That's indicative of hey, this guy's not trained properly. And I mean, not trained properly at all. This, like, not to be a dick, but like I'm in Florida doing a course with Pranko. Like every one of these guys is like this. Like, yep, they've got a well-developed index, all of them. If you see like even a low-level competitive shooter, they're going to have a well-developed index. Somebody training from a holster with any regularity, they're going to have an index, almost certainly, unless they just don't understand this concept and aren't even trying to do it. So what you see is like, oh yeah, you're a professional. So like when you put the gun there, like it just goes, it's just aimed perfectly. Now that's not really what's going on. The way it works is, again, this is a trained thing. And this is why you don't see good shooters like trying to find the dot. They've already developed that index. Now, there's another thing that goes right along with this. If you're trained, shooting is clicky, of course. It's very clicky. Guys, in my clique, we don't even use the word aiming. We don't do that. We don't say, we don't articulate it to see what you need to see or like find the dot and aim at the thing. We call it confirmation. So we lean so heavily on this index concept that I'll look at a spot, mount the gun, and what confirmation is, like, or I should say, put it this way, I'll look at the spot I want, the gun's going to go up there, and I become aware of things in a kind of a certain order. So first, I'm aware that the outline of the gun is coming up to where I'm looking. I become aware then of the color red. So I see, like I'm aware, okay, there's red near that spot I'm looking at. That red thing turns into a dot. It's not a streak or a slash. It turns into a dot and then starts to float on the spot where I'm looking. Depending on the distance, difficulty, and risk level of that shot, I'm going to start reacting to what I see at a certain point. If it's contact distance, I'll react to the outline of the gun, boom, and start shooting. If it's a normal sort of shooting or engagement distance, like 10, 12, 15 yards, that kind of thing, I'm typically just reactive to the color red. So it's like, again, as this index is coming into place where I'm looking, I see like, there's my spot, outline of the gun, red, then I'll like, boom, pull the trigger. If it's a lower percentage or further shot, or I'm trying to be really precise, that red is going to stabilize into a dot and then float around that target area. And then I'll react to that. I'll be like, oh, dot press. If I want even more precision than that, I might be like, all right, like dot comes up stabilized, conscious, deliberate press. Okay. And this is like, you guys think I'm an asshole. I'm not really trying to be, but it's like just the way that people articulate certain concepts. It's like, you could be like, yep, this guy doesn't know this stuff. He just doesn't know it. And it's not like a complicated thing. It's just either you've trained in this way or you really haven't. All right, guys, I got to go. I'm pretty sure that's housekeeping knocking on the door. I'm going to go fuck her off and then get back to work on other things.